Hello everyone, I'm Mike D'Angelo with That's Entertainment, and this is my reaction video to Sony's 2010 E3 conference. I was more inclined to believe that Sony was going to go down the Microsoft route and really embarrass themselves this E3. Surprisingly, they didn't do that bad a job. They drew everything out a little too long, and they had a lot of stuff that was non-exclusive that they tried to pander as exclusive because there's subtle differences to the content that they're going to get. But all in all, it wasn't that bad. I didn't think it was as good as Nintendo's, but it was really hard to top something like that. So here is the 2010 E3 Sony reaction video. Sony started off pretty well. They demonstrated Killzone 3, which, again, I'm going to say I'm not really much of a first-person shooter type guy. This game blew me away. It'll be probably a day one buy for me. It just looks like it does first-person shooting to a whole new level, and I'm really excited to play it. I'm a little disappointed that I don't already have it. Then, right after that, they started to kind of get into the Sony Move. Sony Move is basically like the Wiimote or Microsoft's Kinect, except it looks a lot more weird. The first Move title that they showed for the conference was Sorcery, which kind of looks like a glorified Harry Potter. It doesn't look like it's up to par as far as a PlayStation title goes, but still it looks like it might be fun. They didn't really show enough for me to really gauge my interest, but it does seem like it performs adequately for the Move. Much better than Nintendo's first foray into motion gaming, but we have to see whether or not they're just blowing smoke up everybody's behinds. Right after that, they got into some really good stuff. They actually combined a bunch of their heroes from past titles to make Heroes on the Move. So you have Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, and the turtle from that game. So they're really putting their all behind this. It's not like an afterthought. They're really going to push the Move. They had a whole bunch of other things on display, but they really didn't feature any of the other Move titles. They did mention the price point for the Move. It's going to be $49.99 for the wand, and then another $29.99 for the navigational controller. There are going to be bundles and everything as well, but that's the basic cost right there. Then they went on to show God of War Ghost of Sparta for the PSP. It was just a real quick teaser trailer. They didn't really get into anything, but it's God of War. It's going to be good. Then, of course, they showed Little Big Planet 2, and they showed the breadth. That was the key word of this presentation. Of Little Big Planet's capabilities. You're supposed to be able to make any game you want, first-person shooter, real-time strategy, role-playing game, racing game, and they demonstrated a lot of that. It actually seems like, based on the community and the time limit that they had to produce all this, it looks like Little Big Planet 2 is going to be exponentially better than the first game, hands down. And that is actually saying something, because the first Little Big Planet is phenomenal. That wasn't it. They led into Infamous 2, which, again, looks really great. It surprised me because they were doing some things with Cole that I wasn't expecting. His superhero powers have changed somewhat. Then, of course, they showed Gran Turismo 5. The weird thing about the Gran Turismo demo or trailer or whatever, I wasn't really sure if I was looking at video game footage or if they were just showing live action cuts, and I was mistaken. If it is video game footage, it's really impressive because I can't distinguish between that line. And then, of course, the last surprise of the conference, they brought out a huge game breaker for Sony, Twisted Metal. The trailer showed up, and I had no idea what they were doing. All of a sudden, Sweet Tooth's ice cream truck music starts playing, and all hell breaks loose. And what they showed, it doesn't really seem like typical classic Twisted Metal gameplay. It seems like they're trying to go all out and create a new avenue of entertainment. But Twisted Metal still looks good. The rest of the conference looked pretty good. Like I said, it was just stretched out. Over the course of the conference, they also showed things like Final Fantasy XIV. They showed Medal of Honor, Dead Space 2, Portal 2, which is actually going to come to PlayStation 3. They basically kicked Microsoft in the nuts for taking Final Fantasy XIII last year. But none of these were exclusive to PlayStation, so that's why they're not featured here. One of the things that I was surprised about was I didn't see anything for Final Fantasy XIII Versus. And after recent news when Uncharted 3 is supposed to come out next year, I was kind of surprised that I didn't see a teaser for that either. All in all, the conference was pretty good. Nothing could have really come close to beating Nintendo's, and at the same time, nothing could have gotten as bad as Microsoft's. If Sony would have spaced things out more properly, I think that Sony could have had a good run for this E3, but Nintendo did end up taking the cake. So that's it for the top 3 competitors. There's still a lot of stuff to go over, so I hope that you guys join me again tomorrow when I go over some of the other developers. Thank you. Peace.